Looking ahead at the new year, there are plenty of uncertainties. From the macro landscape to politics and policies, we have a lot to consider. So joining me today at the New York Stock Exchange is David Stryzewski, who's the CEO of Sound Planning Group. David, thank you so much for joining me.
A pleasure to be here, Remy.
Well, it has been quite the year so far in 2024, and we are headed into the month of November, and there's a lot on the horizon here. So first and foremost, I do want to get your take on what is referred to as the calm before the storm. Tell us about this.
Well, I love how you just said what's on the horizon. You know, as we're looking out into the future, I feel like we saw a tropical storm, or we've seen different headwinds that have been adjusting here as time has been going along. And my fear is that we're at this place that everything is priced to perfection. The market's at all-time highs. So many things are positive as far as we believe the Fed. And so I think that there's a lot that can go wrong from here. And so what my fear is that we experience a hurricane like a tornado, where a tornado shows up out of nowhere with no preparation available. A hurricane, you've got to get your lawnmower inside, otherwise that thing and the patio furniture are going through the neighbor's house. And so what I fear is that we are not taking account right now of what's on the horizon, what's just ahead. If we look at the economic numbers that have been coming out, I think that if we look at the headline numbers, we go, oh, hey, everything seems to be doing all right. But as we get a little bit deeper, we go, oh, wow, headlines beat. Oh, well, I guess we avoided a recession, and now it's another bull market. Or we get a bad number, and they say, oh, the Fed's just going to cut. And so no big deal. Or, hey, it's just average numbers. It's right on track. We've got ourselves a soft landing showing up here. So I think that the answer has been buy stocks. This is a bull market. Markets are up, over 20% here this year. And, I vote it goes up forever. Reality is that what goes up ultimately comes down. And I just fear that this data is deteriorating right now in front of our eyes, and we're not paying attention.
And you bring up an important point, because if we look at the major U.S. stock averages, double-digit percentage gains for the Dow, NASDAQ, S&P 500. We're seeing elevated levels for Bitcoin and gold at new record highs, as well as strength in the U.S. currency. But as we head into year-end, there is a lot of event risk, right? Heading into the month of November, we have the election on November 5th, followed by the Federal Reserve rate announcement. And we got that 50 basis point cut from the Fed. And heading into this year, there's a lot of anticipation that we would be getting many cuts, not just one.
Right.
So tell us what's going on in terms of what your areas of focus are.
Sure. So as far as the Fed goes, number one, I'm not sure why a Federal Reserve would need to cut 50 basis points or 0.5% if we were doing so well economically, if the consumer was doing so good, if our GDP was so strong. Wouldn't that be a reason to keep them higher for longer, like we were saying? I think that the Fed's actually recognizing that we've got challenges going on right now. And so their cuts are going to be very inflationary. And so I see inflation coming back with a vengeance. I think gold is the best indicator that inflation is obviously here, because it takes more U.S. dollars to buy one single ounce of gold than it did a couple of years ago. I mean, it's been the number one leading asset class. Now, Bitcoin is another one of these it's finite, and so it is leading to these new highs. The event risk that we have, we've got an election in 11 days. I have no idea how that's going to go, but I think we can all anticipate that we will not have an answer on November the 5th, or on November the 6th, or on November the 7th. And so this is where the attorneys are going to get involved. And so, I don't know. I expect that there's going to be some weird political gamesmanship that ends up happening. I hope no COVID 2.0s, and I hope that we don't get into to worse places in these conflicts that are going on around the world. But it seems like a lot could go wrong pretty quickly. And so as we're sitting here at this moment, 11 days from, I think it's very important that people take an account of where they are. You need to have your anchors in place before storms show up. Let's make sure that we can get some of those things wrapped up just right.
Yeah, David, I think that is such a perfect analogy, because when we consider what's coming on the horizon, coming down the pike for that matter, then we do need to take everything into account. So where do we go from here?
Okay, so where we go from here is, we need to have a real plan. So step one is understanding, who are you? What's your age? Do you need assets now? Do you need income now? But, if you're central government, you're saying, well, should I put all my money in treasuries? And I can buy, tomorrow's infrastructure spending that I need to do with today's IOUs on U.S. Treasuries that we're just going to print. No way. So I think that we need to be looking for more hard-like assets. When we talk about Bitcoin, when we talk about some of these assets that are finite, this is where the future is going. These are assets going to have value as we begin to, or the world loses its appetite for the U.S. dollar. And so I think that it's also very important to understand that diversification is incredibly important. Individual stocks are a great idea. AI is leading. There's a lot of wonderful ideas and names within there. We might be getting a little top heavy in some places, though. So as you're looking at everything all together, there's not the difference between right and wrong. It's how do we get it all just right for us, our risk tolerance, etc., as we're looking here for the future. But many baby boomers today are going forward and they're about to retire, and we may be facing a recession in the next 5 to 10. And the question is, if you go through a major downturn, how do you navigate those waters? And so that is the major challenge that we have. No one knows when the market's going to drop, how long it'll be down, how far it's going to go down. But we do know that what goes up does come down. Remy, I think that we're all just waiting. None of us know, but I guess we'll keep our eyes peeled on the horizon.
Well, David, thank you so much for joining me here today at the New York Stock Exchange, and thank you so much for sharing all of your insights with our viewers.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.